which they'd never isolated, purified, and shown to exist. They then start developing this test called the PCR test, and the creator of the test, called Kary Mullis, in the 1980s, actually said this test should not be used to diagnose infectious disease. But that's exactly what's happened ever since. So now they started adding to the diagnosis by symptoms with a PCR test that wasn't testing for the virus they were claiming to exist. It was testing for an RNA genetic material that was found in the lungs of those people, but has endless other sources and possibilities for why it's there. The key was the response. They wanted to have the Chinese response of a fierce, draconian lockdown to be the response of the rest of the world. The figures were going up of cases and deaths, but the cases were coming from assumption of symptoms and the test not testing for the virus, and the deaths were coming from this redesignation, and the numbers went up. They were building hospitals in a matter of days to cope with the hysteria and the crisis. People were shown on video just collapsing in the street. Have you ever seen anyone collapse in the street in the West from the same virus? So they locked down these areas of China with absolute tyranny and inhumanity. And the numbers very quickly started falling, which, when you're controlling the numbers by your diagnosis and your test not testing for the virus, is very easy to push the numbers up and then push the numbers down. Suddenly these hospitals, in next to no time, that were built to cope with the crisis, they were shut. And you had the World Health Organization, via its Bill Gates controlled Director General Tedros, who was been on the payroll of Gates organizations. He comes out and said China is the way for everyone else to respond. Gates came out and said something similar. And Gates has been the second biggest funder, second only to the government of the United States, of the World Health Organization. And if Trump carries through his threat to stop funding the WHO, then Gates will be the biggest funder. He owns it. And he owns Tedros, the Director General. So then we start moving into the West.